What are we here for?
We are here for usual banter, some chatter.
Banter? We hardly have banter, do we?
We had a banter upstairs.
That was next level banter. This is going to be banter, but toned down.
Filtered banter. Filtered.
Yeah.
By the way, the women's T20 that is to be played in Mumbai, Wankhede, between Indian women and the England women's team has started. England batting right now. And we will be live at the end of the day's play.
Yep.
So once the match is done, hopefully around 10 o'clock.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah,
my colleagues tell me that the women's T20 finishes and they adhere to the time limits much better than the male counterparts, who usually finish a T20 game in 4 hours. We've gotten used to it. Hopefully it will be done in 3 hours or 3 hours 15 minutes for the women's game. So we'll be live on Sports Today at the end of the day's play, which is going to be, I think, roughly about 10:15. So yeah, that's all I wanted to tell them about the game. Now you can come back to whatever.
Quite an important series, this one, because last time England defeated you
Shashwat?
3-0, and because of that,
We don't ever take that.
you are also gearing up for the World T20, Women's World T20, which could be played in India. So 2024, I think, 2025, your World T20 is being played, India.
And a test match at home after 9 years.
Yeah, India, South Africa, I think was the last that was played. Surat.
Right.
Oof. So much for the women's game development in India. That's the thing. But okay.
This one, so 3 games happening in
Wankhede,
Mumbai, and
one in Navi Mumbai.
In Navi Mumbai.
The single test, yeah.
Yeah. So
Lone test.
lone test match indeed. So it'll be interesting how Harmanpreet Kaur's side, and that too, one of the matches is, I think, happening on the sidelines of the WPL also, if I'm not mistaken. The auction is slated to be on December 9th.
Yeah.
30 slots to be determined overall as to who gets in. Let's see.
Yeah. Some interesting names. In fact, you mentioned WPL. Some interesting names from the last year's WPL that you are looking at this time around. Somebody like this one.
Chamari Atapattu.
No. I'm forgetting the name.
Indian.
Yeah, the spinner.
Deepti Sharma. Who?
No. You mean that Mumbai Indians?
Yes.
Oh,
they didn't call up.
For a spinner.
Yeah, she had done well. She was the leading wicket taker for the Mumbai Indians in the Women's Premier League.
Shriyanka?
No, Shriyanka
Patil is one of them. Shriyanka Patil is one of the names to watch out for.
Yeah. Wait. I just have the team sheet. I'll tell you who's the one. So the team sheet that I'm about to show you is, oh please, come on. PDF. Wait.
Saika Ishaq.
Saika Ishaq. Yes. Yeah. Saika Ishaq. Yep. She was the leading wicket taker, 15 wickets in fact. Bowled very well for Mumbai Indians.
Made him call up, I believe, for both.
Yeah.
both
Ishaq and Shriyanka.
Yeah.
Shriyanka Patil played in the India A versus England A. That series that preceded the senior tour that happened. So that's why. The only one of the senior of England who featured in that was Issy Wong. Isabel
Yes.
She was there in the and I think even Sarah Glenn. Charlie Dean was there. Charlie Dean and Issy Wong were the two individuals playing for England at that time.
Issy Wong was one bright talent,
Yeah.
She did very well in the WPL as well for MI. It was one of the key reasons why I think they ended up a surprise package, let's say, that particular edition.
Yeah. So, India women's, finally they're getting their due now. I think one test match plus I think Australia are doing it. And by the way, even 2 wickets have fallen in the first over itself. Renuka Singh, welcome back.
This is the same Renuka Singh who, for whatever reason, just got dropped. I remember in the middle, and everyone's scratching their head as to why did you drop Renuka Singh? Why would you drop Renuka Singh? It's phenomenal.
Exactly. So she luckily, and Nat Siver actually took out the hat-trick.
I think that time again it was justified to an extent because she was erratic.
No, she wasn't. She was she was your best bowler in the World Cup. How can you say she was erratic?
She was there. there and thereabouts. The one time she was erratic, then she was dropped. I remember.
The World T20 semi-final.
Now you're dropping a player after one match.
That is where those
Come on.
questions sort of are.
They even dropped Shikha Pandey when she was at the top of her game.
Exactly.
At
So
one
some
point.
of
We
the
didn't even realize why they did that.
There are some diseases. Even Poonam Raut, for example, she was a very good opening bat. She didn't play aggressively, but she was dropped.
for that matter, someone like a Veda Krishnamurthy also disappeared off the face of the earth pretty much.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
No, but Veda unfortunately also had injuries.
Of course.
So
but
that
when
is
she was
why.
fit also.
Yeah, and she played a very good knock in 2017. Had she not thrown her wicket away, India would have won that World Cup final.
Oh, don't remind me of that.
Yeah, that's quite a traumatic moment for all of us.
I blame myself for that, Ross.
Why?
Because in the organization you and I were working in at that point, I was on live blog duty for
Oh,
that particular
yes.
match. It was the final. When I'm sitting on live blog duty, all going swimmingly, I'm like, you know what, this match is done. Just someone take over. I'll go have dinner. I go have dinner, come back, they're done. Collapse is finished.
Yeah, bad collapse.
Terrible.
Anya
So
Shropshire.
you were thinking you shouldn't have gone for dinner.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Of course, it wouldn't have mattered.
It's like all of us think, I shouldn't have gotten up.
Yeah.
Damn, Sachin Tendulkar got out. Because I got out.
I was being very tongue-in-cheek about it. It
No,
wouldn't
I'm
have
saying in
mattered.
general, no,
it's
that's
not just
a
us.
human tendency. A lot of us start blaming, whereas you don't know that at that particular moment, there are billions of people doing billions of other things, and there's no string attached
Correlation.
as to who did what.
And the man you mentioned, Sachin Tendulkar, himself is a believer of all of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
He didn't get let Virendra Sehwag get up in the 2011 World Cup
Everyone
final.
thinks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're watching it on TV, whether you're working, whatever you think. I have to keep sitting or getting up. So if like everyone keeps thinking, then what is really happening? Is the guy who got up from his chair at that time, he's responsible? Then what about the guy who kept sitting somewhere and not getting up?
Weird,
it doesn't
weird
matter.
superstitions. What's your favorite superstition? Memorable superstition of a
I
sportsman?
remember one.
Of a sportsman.
Of a sportsman, yeah. Not ours.
Nadal.
We are very fickle.
Nadal, that
Bottle?
bottle.
Yeah.
The bottle.
And
One
that's
by
something
one.
with the socks as well.
Let him finish. What are you going with?
No, the bottle.
Bottle,
That's one. The other, this is not an individual, it's a team one. I remember the Chelsea team of 2014-15, they won the title under Mourinho that year. They had this one thing before home games, they'd all go to one particular urinal and that's it. One time they delayed the match start by 5 minutes because there were people in line waiting to go in that particular urinal.
My goodness.
You know? I was like, what?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's something that's been discussed publicly. It's not a conspiracy theory, and it was discussed by of all people Cesc Fabregas. So he's a pretty open guy. He also admitted that he was the guy who threw the pizza on Sir Alex Ferguson.
Oh.
Pizzagate, it was dumb. No one knew who did it. Years later, he comes out and was like, I was the one who flung it.
For me, Steve wore
Red handkerchief.
Red handkerchief. That's the most memorable one that I can think of, and no one else. I can't think of any other sporting entity which had that kind of. I don't follow that much of football that closely, so I don't know. Maybe who was that cricketer who said, "Oh, I'll wear the left pad only first, then I'll wear the right."
A lot of them.
Sachin, I think, was one of them.
I think Sachin was that. And a lot of other cricketers.
Yeah.
Sachin, of course, yes.
But the most memorable I remember is Steve Waugh, that red handkerchief.
Much before Steve Waugh, there was an Indian who had a similar thing. Mohinder Amarnath used to carry a red handkerchief. Similar. Always carried it.
What's the logic behind red?
Just, may have been his lucky, or he must have gotten some runs. May have carried a handkerchief once, which may have been red, and he did well. And so then it just becomes a thing that I'm only going to carry a red handkerchief. So Mohinder Amarnath used to do that. I remember Dennis Bergkamp, but that was, he had fear of flying.
Yeah,
but
he
he
wouldn't
would
fly
not
anywhere.
fly. So I don't know whether there was a superstition or I think he was scared, genuinely
He
scared of
was
flying.
nicknamed the non-flying Dutchman because he
Yeah.
hated flying.
He didn't fly. That's what I'm saying. So
Sympathies with him.
yeah.
You would relate. Yeah.
I dread flying. Yeah. What's your superstition?
I'd
that you
say pretty
remember?
much the one that we talked about, the Sachin one. That's the only one that I recall. Otherwise, I don't remember. Nadal's is this thing. Again, two things I think. What I recall him placing the bottles, and then the sock as well. You know, he'd ensure that one of the
is
sock
not-
reaches here, the other one is a little lower than the other.
Also, there are other things, but those are idiosyncrasies that he has. So, like for example, he will always put his left foot into the court first, then right. Also, he will never step on the paint. So, you will see him when he's walking into the court. You have those parallel lines. He will never step on the paint. When he's entering, he'll always ensure that he steps between those lines so his foot is not going to touch. But then that's just something, sometimes you are, what is that? Obsessive compulsive OCD, right? So that's disorder. So that's like placing the bottle. It's not so much that superstition as in it'll help me win a point, but it's just that you've gotten used to it. Obsession with getting everything right or kept that.
Well, then for that matter, idiosyncrasies. I think in sport, idiosyncrasies where you'll have certain players do certain things. What are your favorites there? Like if we have to, there's so many.
Djokovic eating a blade of grass, is that an idiosyncrasy or a superstition?
It's an idiosyncrasy.
Yeah.
And that's always after like he wins the championship, not like before he starts.
Yeah, but then why can't
It's like Bolt biting the
Medal.
With Bolt, actually, that was
this one?
that
But
celebration.
you want idiosyncrasies, let's say. Those are, let's say, celebrations rather.
trademarks. So
Trademark celebrations.
No, if you're talking about idiosyncrasies, then I mean, if you're talking idiosyncrasies, Paul Pogba, that run up for a penalty.
Yeah, the stutter.
He would stutter. He would crawl. Tuck, 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 tuck. Some once one account, rather popular account on Instagram, took that and put the Hole Hole Sajna subtracted, fitted like a glove.
Hole.
Yeah, because he's going Hole. It's very funny. That's one idiosyncrasy I'll never get over. He always had the thing. Slow. And the thing with penalty is you're seeing it. If you're a fan, you're nervous. You're like either get it out or in, whatever. You're waiting. You've aged 10 years. He's still going towards the ball.
Yeah. Or for that matter, the All Blacks doing the haka.
Haka.
I love that.
That's a brilliant.
Okay, anyway, this is a Q&A session. So what we're going to be doing today is answering all your questions. So just giving you a heads up, maybe we'll start taking questions in 5 minutes time. Meanwhile, we'll quickly discuss what's happening in the world of cricket. Of course, the big headline, couple of headlines. One, Ravi Bishnoi becoming the number 1 T20I bowler. Congratulations to him. We've discussed him yesterday, but what a comeback he's made. And so he's now on the flight to South Africa. That is the news item number 2. India would have landed by now. Would have reached Joburg, so they're starting their T20I series, starting with
Durban. I heard reports that from Dubai they're going to Durban.
Okay, maybe Durban then, but usually all flights they land in Joburg, but they maybe, I don't know, may have, because they went via Dubai, so they may have got a flight too. Because earlier it was a direct flight you would get from India, but they took Emirates, you're right. So they may have got a Durban flight, because from India you never had a Durban flight. You had a Mumbai Joburg.
Yes.
Which is the one they would take, but because they've gone via Dubai, so they will reach South Africa, and it's going to be summers there. Lest we forget, it's going to be, there's no winters here in India yet, but this is winter time. But there it's going to be summers in South Africa. That's the second bit of news. The third, which is trending, is Mushfiqur handling the ball.
Wow.
Shan Masood getting 100.
156 against Prime Minister's 11 in Canberra.
Yeah, and in that match, Babar Azam almost handling the ball. So there's the GIF which has been put out by Cricket Australia's this thing where Shan Masood is playing a shot and Babar for some reason at the non-striker's end is bending down and almost handled it.
I think I read somewhere that the last time one of the captains went ahead and scored a pre-series. A captain.
Yeah.
It was a Jinkara Ane and they ended up winning the series.
I read that too.
But it doesn't apply in the case of Pakistan.
In a tour game.
Yeah.
In a tour game, the last time a captain got 100, Ajinkya got, and then India won the series. So, I mean, of course, the Pakistani faithfuls may be thinking that their guy. But though I'm a big fan of Shan Masood, I've said it many times before. What a sharp cricketing brain he is, because I've done some work with him earlier in broadcasting, and he is incredible. Just as I sometimes talk about Ajay Jadeja, really sharp cricketing brain, Shan Masood is quite like that, and very articulate, and watches a lot of cricket. You can make out, right, when you start giving references of a lot of leagues that you don't follow, which means he sees a lot of cricket, has that appetite to be watching cricket all across the globe all the time, and this is while he's playing. So he's not even an analyst where he's like quit and has all the time in the world to be watching cricket. So he's quite like, I don't know, R. Ashwin, if I could say, like someone who analyzes the game, watches a lot of game, has an opinion, and then so he's quite like that. Just that he doesn't have a YouTube channel of his own, so you don't get to know. But you must listen to Shan Masood. Maybe you'll get a lot of his old shows online, his press conferences. Really sharp guy. But that, of course, is no guarantee that he'll be a great cricketer. But yes, he's got 100. He's been given the captaincy.
Yep.
And then Pakistan being Pakistan already had a brawl between two players.
Yeah. Sarfraz and
It was
Shadab.
No.
Saud Shakil.
Saud Shakil. Yeah.
Apparently, there's some conspiracy this thing going on that Saud Shakil was someone who was benched under Sarfraz's captaincy for a long time. So maybe that's a grudge that's propping up now.
Anyway, Pakistan better do well because they haven't won a test in Australia for 28 years now. 27 years. 1995, they won in Sydney. After that, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 2-0.
Boy.
4 3-0s and a 2-0 in 2019. That's why a lot of people, including Ian Chappell, also stated, should we invite Pakistan on a regular basis? Because looking at the performances that they put in Australia for over 2 decades now. And it's not that it's been close. The victory margins have been quite big. I mean, 2016 was their ultimate nadir. I mean, 400 they made, Azhar Ali made a double 100. 600 Australia rigged up, 2.5 days washed out by rain, yet Pakistan lost in 2 sessions. Imagine. So now 3 matches again, and in those 3 bogey venues of theirs, Perth, Melbourne, Sydney. Let's see how it goes for them this time around. 14th at the Optus Stadium. That's going to be interesting.
Okay, Shashwat, now.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, Dheeraj has a question. I know you have inside details of IPL 2013 spot fixing, so please tell if it's true that Dhoni was protected by BCCI to safeguard his and
The Indian cricket team.
Okay, so Dheeraj is asking me about the 2013 spot fixing. Okay, yeah, I covered that very closely. It was one of the biggest news breaks that happened. I'll still never forget that, the day we got to know about it and all hell broke loose. We were just like, get to know that Srishant has been taken by the cops and flown to Mumbai. He was in Mumbai and I think flown from there to Delhi. And then, there was a big hangama. But he's getting to the point of, was Dhoni protected by the BCCI? Okay, let me just give you a short summary of what happened. Firstly, for you to say that Dhoni was protected by the BCCI, I think that's quite inaccurate and quite damaging to the reputation of a player. So what we do know is what happened at that time, because there was someone called Gurunath Mahappan who was involved, and he was of course the team director. Later it was proven that he was betting, not necessarily fixing. There was no evidence to suggest he was fixing matches, but that he was betting, and that in itself was against the rule. You cannot be, and it's much like insider trading, like in share market, and pretty much like that. So even in countries where it's legal to be doing betting, let's say the UK, US, wherever, sports betting is legal. Even there, players who are involved and even administrator, anyone who's involved with the franchise, and even their relatives, by the way, as an extension, cannot be betting. That's illegal because they have inside information. So that's illegal. So that was the issue in that CSK. I'm only looking at CSK because I think that's what you're alluding to. That was the issue. So the guilty party there was Gurunath Mahappan, who was the team director. But there was nothing to suggest that Dhoni had any role to play in that. There is also nothing to suggest that any player at that time was paying heed to what Gurunath Mahappan is saying. And whatever we say right now, and a lot of people could be right in assuming that if the team director is doing it, who has so much of an influence on the team, then how will players not get influence? And that, but then, as I say again, that still remains an assumption. It's still conjecture. Till such time you can prove it, you really can't be pointing a finger at anyone. And so if you were to point a finger at Dhoni or any other player, then you are actually damaging his reputation without having an iota of proof. The only thing where I think Dhoni faltered in all of that was the fact that when he was there at that time, I think he was asked that, did you not know that he's team director? And he refused to acknowledge that he was the team director. And I think that's the only time where he did not really speak what the truth was. That was the only thing. Because, what CSK did as soon as that whole thing happened, saying that he's just a cricket enthusiast. That was their excuse, that he has no official role. As soon as you make him a cricket enthusiast and no official role, then you can quite smartly have him, escape any sort of punishment. That's what the narrative was. And if I remember correctly, in one of the press conferences, MS Dhoni was asked that, isn't he the team director? And he said, no, he's not. Okay. That's the only thing that probably you could criticize him for. But to suggest that he had any role to play in that, I've known MS Dhoni for a lot of reasons. I think he'd be the last guy who'd ever want to indulge in anything like that, right? A lot of us can like him, dislike him for the cricket that he may have played, decisions he may have taken. That's your personal opinion. But I will not go so far as to point a finger at any player till such time that I am in possession of documents or proof to say that he or she was involved. Yes, there was a close relationship that Gurnath Mayappan and Dhoni shared, but that was also because one is running the team and the other is the captain. But that because Gurnath Mayappan is betting, like let me give you an example. Like, me and let's say Siddharth, okay, we work in the same team. We'll of course have a close relationship as such. But if on the side I am, doing things which are outside the office, for example, I don't know, let's say just hypothetically, super chat money is coming in, and I'm quietly figured out a way that it does not go to the sports account, it comes to my personal account. I'm just top of my head just thinking. That doesn't necessarily mean that he would also know that such and such thing exists
or is happening.
He would know a lot of other things, but if I'm doing it behind his back, just because he knows us and we have an association here and we work on the same platform, he may not be knowing that I'm doing this. And so I guess there was a lot of investigation that was done, a lot of things that was done, nothing was found out. Again, just the final piece of the puzzle, because you're saying there was a said envelope that had names of a lot of prominent Indian cricketers, and it was alleged, I repeat, you remember the word that I'm using, alleged. I'm not confirming it. I haven't seen that envelope. I haven't seen the names in that. Alleged that MS's name may have been there. It was alleged. But I will tell you something which is confirmed. Those were wild allegations. Yeah. I spoke to people in the judiciary who were investigating much later, and they said that it's like tomorrow anyone, I just write a letter and say, something about Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli and send it without any proof. The court cannot open it and say it till such time there is something concrete, because can you imagine the damage of reputation that it will cause to those players? Even if it's not true, just you mentioning it is not going to be fair. So I think the court did the right thing, did not open the envelope, did not say those names out, because I trust the people who were investigating the matter who said there were absolute wild allegations naming everybody. You can't do that. You just can't name anybody, and especially people of repute. Till such time there is enough evidence, substantial proof there, and so none of that was there against any of the CSK players. So I have no reason to doubt anyone. And as I said, specifically because you're asking about MS, I've known him over the years. He's a man of integrity. He's a man who's played hard cricket. I know how much he loves his country, how much he's done to do for his country on the field, and let's not discredit him for that. But the only other thing, the person who I thought did not deal with that situation really well was N. Srinivasan, who at that time was the board president and also owned the team. There was a clear conflict of interest, and it was his son-in-law was running the team, and the worst thing that the BCCI did was trying to protect him. He said that I will have my, he said no, I'm not going to remove him from that place. What he should have done ideally is, as soon as there are allegations, there's proof, and there was proof against him, you say he has to step down till the time the inquiry is over. Then after a lot of pushing and shoving, because the media carried it up, he had no option but to ask him to step down. But then he constituted his own probe, his own friends, retired judges, he put them. First he put his own name in that inquiry committee. Srinivasan himself put his own name, which again is direct conflict, and then he said, okay, I'll remove, and then he got some of his old friends that he had. And you needed to set up an independent committee, and had he done it on his own at that time, had N. Srinivasan done that from the start and set up an independent committee to investigate the matter, things wouldn't have come to the stage that it did, that he was removed from president. The whole BCCI was changed. That was the catalyst, that was the starting point. It all because one man put his foot down in N. saying, I will not let you, I remember the word he used, bulldoze you.
Yes.
I won't let you bulldoze me off. I'm not going to be bullied by the media and so on. But I don't think the media was trying to bully him. The media was only trying to investigate. And he should have taken the right thing. Anyway, in the end, a lot of good came out of it. BCCI went through a churn. A lot of things changed. Some that were related to what was happening, some even beyond that, because once it's open to changes, once it's open to scrutiny, then the guys who are put in charge, former chief justices and so on and so forth, then they changed a lot of things in the BCCI, and a lot of those things are good in terms of your tenure, who can play, not, multiple states.
Cooling off period.
Yeah, a lot of things came into. So that's.
But that letter, it was an anonymous letter, you said, huh? That was during the.
Some person alleged and put some big cricketer's name that XYZ is victim. But hello, you can't just write those names and give it. You need to furnish some proof as well. And what would have happened? See, this is where the judiciary and all their experienced people. What would have happened even if they read that letter? Because a lot of time I remember the judges that were fighting the case said that open that letter, and the judge refused to. It's not protecting those players, but as soon as you even take their names, all hell breaks loose, and there is a dent to their reputation without any proof.
Which is why such things are often given in a sealed cover.
Exactly. So that's why they did not, and I think they did the right thing. It was not protecting anyone. I think it was just following the norm.
Go up a bit further. I think there was one more.
That's as briefly or in a condensed manner that I could present that.
Okay. International 3191.
No, upar se, are we finished with that?
Yeah, that one.
Second, Cloudy, I'll take his comment. He's saying, notwithstanding Sid, good evening to everyone.
Okay, bad evening to all of you.
Why are you being so nice, so harsh to such a nice soul sitting to my right? Huh? Cloudy, what has he done to you? Yeah, come on. Hey, listen, again, if he said something about your favorite player and all, come on, man.
I don't know his favorite player.
No, I'm just saying he must have been. I'm saying it's just an assumption.
I know.
Right.
That's no reason to say good evening to our dear friend. Yeah.
But Sid, you be the bigger person and always go. You say good evening.
Good evening, Cloudy.
Or to quote Unai Emery, good evening.
Good evening.
Very nice. Okay.
Indeed.
Now
International 3191.
This is like US. Some big time code of a spy.
007
from the Mossad or KGB or something like that. Huh?
He seems to be CIA. International 3191.
What's his? He's from the US. Yeah, that's why.
CIA. So, what makes Test cricket so memorable over decades?
Well, let's all come up with reasons. One reason that I can come up with. I can come up with more. One is that I feel that it's truly a test of a person's character. What has happened, and I'm looking at it from a batsman's point of view, even let's say for bowler, that the art of grind, perseverance, determination and concentration. They would say that Sunil Gavaskar, there could be a bomb blast close to him, but he'd be so zoned in and concentrating on the task at hand that he wouldn't even realize it. But that's an art. It's like, what do you say, meditation, it's tapasya, right? And that art now over the years, now I'm not saying that batsmen don't concentrate, but I think now the focus is concentrated on the ball that's coming, focus, hit it, and your concentration spans are for shorter time because you have a target you're chasing in white ball cricket and you plan your innings and you go. In Test cricket, you go out there and there's no target as such, okay? There's no restriction on bouncers at that or whatever. Even now, okay, let's say there's restriction. But your thing is to keep watching the ball one after the other to the other and spend a session, spend another session. I think that is such an underrated quality. We all praise a player for a scoop or a reverse hit, which I agree is a skill. It's fun to watch. But suddenly we've forgotten about this particular skill of grit, digging your heels in, standing there hours and hours and concentrating one after the other. And that I think is a real test. Same for the bowler. Like in white ball cricket, a lot of time you're gifted a wicket because the batsman is trying to be aggressive. Right? Yep. And not necessarily it's a catch, even if it's a bowl because he's trying to, play some shot. In Test cricket where he's trying to survive and he's not giving you an inch for you to now devise a plan to get him out. Another skill. And then, like McGrath's, again, I'm saying that skill of bowling that same length again and again and again and again and then again, and at the 40th delivery getting his wicket. So that skill is underrated. So that I enjoy a lot, and fascinating ends to the test match. I think close test match endings are 100 times better than a last ball, white ball cricket finish.
Yep.
Any day.
I mean, it is the only format where absolutely anything can happen. Anything. For example, 4.5 days of dark cricket, suddenly one session, the match changes. You can't see that in a
WTC final.
Not the WTC final.
You are always behind.
First day, change first day.
See, it is like, for another game that I like, it is like chess with the physicality. Chess is, it's not physical as such, it's all mental, strategic, but here you have to be physical also in test cricket, because 90 overs in an era when you have got two other formats, it's not easy. That's why you got one specific bowler for this format, one other specific bowler for other formats, white ball specialists, red ball specialists. But test cricket, I mean, look at it, a batsman can score a triple, a quadruple, you'll still feel overjoyed with it. He can even take the perfect 10 and be overjoyed by it. A 5-wicket haul, any kind of haul. For example, if you have to look at one particular instance of the beauty of test cricket, I remember the Pakistan-Sri Lanka game. Two teams that are not so appealing to you when you have to look at them on a consistent basis, but for 4.5 days, they played typical to themselves. Dull cricket. But Pakistan had to chase 302 in 57 overs and they got it. Their determination to win and make a statement. Same with India. I mean, we've seen so many instances of India registering so many memorable wins. For example, Leeds 2002, Adelaide 2003, you are behind against Australia, 556. Kolkata.
And also, this is the only other format where the game ends in a draw, but it could still be very exciting. Like Sydney.
Mumbai 2011.
Yeah. Just Hanuma Vihari, Ashwin batting. You're actually drawing the game. So much excitement.
You can have 5 results in a test match.
Yeah.
Win, loss, draw, tie, match drawn with scores level. The basic difference is match drawn with scores level means you've not been able to bowl the opposition out, but you've run out of overs.
Yeah.
I think the ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes the game so great. And actually, there's no format which gives you that. Unfortunately, it's also, you can say, what makes the sport or makes the format so niche. But that's the beauty of it, is that it can ebb and flow like crazy. You don't know any team and how many times. I think if we have to start recounting teams winning from impossible positions, there'll be so many instances. It's only possible because of the format.
And remember, this format has given birth to all the other formats. We'll look at, say, an ODI would not have been born had the 1971 test at Melbourne was washed out.
Because
Some innovation, so they had to get in an ODI.
And the other thing that makes this format unique is the fact that it's one of a kind of cross sport.
Yeah.
A T20I and a ODI in that sense can be compared to a few other sports, right? T20I even more so. Same amount of time and result and, bang, a lot of things which fast pace, all of that. Test cricket is the only thing that is uncomparable. There's nothing like that in any sport that ever exists.
The closest would be, I think, endurance racing. So a 24-hour Le Mans, where you're for 24 hours, you're having to change drivers, then it's really a test of your endurance.
I agree, but even then it's quite short and that there is a winner, there's no draw, I'm just saying.
It's quite short in terms of it lasts a day, but those 24 hours altogether.
I agree, but then the drivers are changing and, it's not the same guy. Here, one guy could be on the field for 5 days.
5 days. Yeah.
All the time. So, I'm just saying it's like unparalleled. And even then 5 days it's going, and it could at the end, as I said, finish in a draw.
It could in a draw.
Where else, like Le Mans or wherever you're doing, there'll be a winner.
See, the only equivalent to test cricket is a game of chess, because that's why you get a draw also there. And also a classical game can last about 7 to 8 hours, even 10 hours. But then you can't play 5 days of classical chess on the trot. It is mentally and physically impossible to play 5 days of classical chess on the trot. Because by then either your brain will short circuit or you will fall ill. That's how Test cricket is. The only game where you slug it out for 5 days, can end in a draw, needs something spectacular to win, something spectacular for you to lose.
I think my answer to that question is a little philosophical because I think Test cricket is an embodiment of life, let's say. Day 1 may not be yours, but day 2 could be. And even then after day 5, you just need to accept the result.
India will not agree with that.
So that's what I like about Test cricket. Again, it always gives you a chance to make a comeback. Not often do you do that with other formats or other sports. You don't get that.
You can, but I think this really gives you a bigger chance.
A second chance. There's always a second chance to turn the.
I mean, more than 1983. I mean, yes, 1983 is right up there. But the one moment that gave Indians so much of joy in a dark period was 2001 Kolkata. It changed the world. Yeah. It gave Indians belief yet again after your belief had reached an all-time low.
Well, before that, see, 83 we all remember that India won, they got an open bus parade, but I'm told by old timers that when you won in 71, so you got that kind of reception.
The airport was glassed with fans. The players couldn't even come out of the aircraft because the fans had reached the airport and all those are wild scenes.
So that also changed, no? That changed again the mindset of a country where you had been ruled by so many years and you thought you were in a way inferior, or at least had complexes in that sense. All of that you overcame by beating the colonial masters, even West Indies.
Yeah, the giants of that.
Ajit Wadekar was the captain then, right?
Ajit Wadekar. And Sunil Gavaskar became the Sunil Gavaskar.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, Ritvika K is asking me, could you please list one match-winning innings for Sky, Jadeja, KL, Rohit in an important T20 match? Why the heck are we constantly backing them? Okay, now answer the first part. I remember 2 or 3 very good innings of Surya Kumar Yadav in an important match. The Trent Bridge 100, Wellington 100. Okay. If I have to look at it, it was an important match, but it wasn't unfortunately a match-winning one on a pitch where no one else got going. South Africa. Okay. So you have to back Surya Kumar Yadav. Jadeja, don't look at just the number of runs or the balls, the impact 34 that he made against Pakistan in that first Asia Cup match played a big role. Played a big role in that. Rohit Sharma, if I have to look at it, the way how he played against Australia in that truncated match in Nagpur. Prior to, apart from that, all the other hundreds that he had hit, everything was match winning in that. Okay, that's an important T20 match. All these I'm saying are important T20 matches.
But nobody is backing KL.
KL Rahul, that is the problem.
But nobody is backing. Saying, why are you being back?
No one's backing KL at this point.
He's not in the team.
Honestly, one match-winning innings for KL in an important match, I cannot recollect. Only for KL Rahul.
But I would like to extend that logic. I think, Sky, let's not even get into that territory. It's widely acknowledged that one of the best T20 batters now. So I think that, again, Jadeja, we discussed yesterday, the kind of dimension that he brings to the game because of him being a 3-dimensional player. There isn't much competition right now. There's an Akshar Patel, Washington Sundar, we discussed that. So I think even he's in that sense is something that you'll persist with. The KL, I think nobody is backing. Rohit, to an extent you can say, and I've said it on record, that I would want to move ahead because you'd need to start with a new team. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Cloudy's question, please.
Yeah, please.
Your views on former players doing surrogate ads for basically pan masala companies. How disgraceful is it, especially for younger kids? No morality?
I am not too sure on that. To each his own, yeah. I mean, some people do soft drink ads also, which is harmful, but some are okay with it. I guess it's their livelihood, right?
Yeah, I would not judge anyone for taking money.
At the end of the day, it's our choice, right? Whatever you want to consume, you will. If you drink alcohol, which is harmful for your body, doesn't matter if X is endorsing or Y is endorsing.
You'll be drinking it regardless.
Yeah. Or similarly, you were eating pan masala, whatever ads he's talking about, I don't think that who is endorsing it. You could, see, I think to each his own, it's a very personal thing, right? It's like, I'm saying, it's like, being a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. It's a personal thing. People can decide. Some people don't want to. They want to follow a thing. Let them follow. Some don't want to. I think it's their livelihood. If there is a sponsor who's paying you to endorse something, you can. But if it hurts your, inside consciousness, whatever, and you feel uncomfortable, don't do it. And I'm sure a lot of people do.
In the past also, this is a new phenomenon. In the 70s, 80s, there used to be cricketers who would endorse cigarettes also, right?
Yeah.
In the 70s and the 80s.
I am saying, I am in general against trying to police anything or anything at that matter. All of us have a choice to make. All of us should be allowed to make the choices that we make. So whether it's the star who's endorsing a product or whether it's the person who's consuming it, if it's legal, you are selling it in the market, it's his or her choice to go and do it.
I think that's the right part about it.
So long as it's legal and he's in the legal age or whatever.
Exactly.
Right, then it's for them and he's answerable. And if somebody has a right to say something, it's his family, his near and dear ones. And if they feel he should not, it's something that they deal with. Who am I to sit far away and decide, no, he should not be doing it, he should not be doing it. Or for that matter, some stars should not be endorsing this, some should be endorsing.
Yeah, if the advertisements are legal, then you can't really be telling people.
Exactly.
So like I remember at one point, again, another sport example, but F1 at one point had an epidemic of tobacco related sponsorship forever. I mean, right up till the early to mid 2000s, you would have a Ferrari of all teams, their official name.
Marlboro.
It was Scuderia Ferrari Marlboro because they had the title sponsor.
West McLaren Mercedes. West is a cigarette brand.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even I think Peter Jackson.
No, so the Jordan team used to have Benson and Hedges as a sponsor.
Yes.
So they
Cricket
all
did too.
Rockman's.
Camel.
Wills
Wills
World Cup,
Wills.
Very long.
So these kind of and in fact it used to get really funny looking at these teams having to try and cover the thing for certain races where tobacco sponsorship wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
So you can't run a Marlboro, you can't
Outside
run a
Europe, right?
No, within Europe mostly.
Oh.
Ironically enough, within Europe is where the most stringent anti-tobacco advertising laws exist. You can't advertise it. Okay. So within the European leg, they just couldn't advertise.
Also speaking just for India, let's say, and those ads in particular, if these products, firstly they're not illegal products, if these products were, let's say, so frowned upon or looked down upon, then they, would have been banned by now. Let's admit it, the economy is driven by these products and by those companies also. So it's allowed and everything, so it's not something illegal being endorsed out there. It still remains the choice of the citizen, if within the legal age, to consume it or not.
Put it this way, if you are someone who's looking at a celebrity and saying, this person is saying this, then it must be good, then you're the fool. Because by now everyone knows that these guys are getting paid. I mean, Ronaldo was recently caught up in a lawsuit because Binance. He was advertising a cryptocurrency, this thing that $1 billion scam. Why? Because people said he advertised it in good faith. I'm like,
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, all I'll say on this is as well, and this is a general thing, don't take sporting or whatever celebrity, the Bollywood sporting, as role models firstly. I mean, that's my first thing. If you want to take them as role models, then you only restrict it to the field that they are. So I'll give an example. If there's a cricketer who plays really well, you idolize him for his journey, the hard work he put in to reach there. But let's say he has a political opinion. You don't, just because he says it, you don't have to align yourself with that.
Correct.
Because he's not an expert in that subject. Tomorrow he may have an opinion on, let's say, vaccines, whatever it is. Novak Djokovic could be the greatest. And as I said, you could align with him or disagree with him depending on your own thought process, what you've read or what you understand or what you want to believe in. But he cannot be the authority. So that's why I said, just because, because sometimes we get very touchy, so and so said this about, animal rights or whatever, and world is divided that he's right or he's wrong. My point is, just because a player can hit a cover drive better than you, or better than 99.9% of the population, does not mean that he's intelligent enough.
He's the be all end all of it.
Intelligent than that 99.9%. So, I mean, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli are rare species. But what's their talent? That they can pull the ball at 150 kilometers per hour, can negotiate, swing, seam. That's their skill that none of us can do. That's what makes them unique. But that does not ensure that he may know more about motorcycles than I do, or may know more about, let's say, traveling than Siddharth, or let's say, cuisines like Shane. Anyone, each of us will have an expertise, and we could school a lot of other people on a lot of other things. Similarly, you guys as well. So just because somebody is good at one thing does not mean that he knows everything in the world.
Yep.
So don't treat them as, generally, celebrities, whether they're heroes, sports stars, whatever. You like them, you enjoy them, you praise them for their skill, and that's it. Beyond that, make up your own mind.
Yep. Tanmay Joshi is saying, is it fair to judge a player based on one match? Suryakumar Yadav has been excluded from test after just a match, after being added with the thought that he can change match in one session. Should there be a fair one?
Very interesting question. Because of so many things that happen in cricket, we tend to forget that, which is right. I'm not saying here that yes, Sky is the guy for test. Maybe he's not. Maybe I may believe that he's not. But will I be fair to say that he should not play based on my personal opinion? No, right? If you got him in the team and you wanted him to play, and he may have failed in ODI, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he'll fail in tests also. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, which is what we were discussing yesterday, that our pool somehow just keeps increasing, and we tend to forget the ones that we got, and we also mix up formats all the time. But you have a valid question that if he was bought in, he should have been given a long run, and if he didn't succeed, then say bye bye, thank you, tada,
Exactly.
Vanakkam, Shubhratri, Nandri, whatever.
Shabba khair.
Shabba khair.
Saurav Mukherjee, do you think former players are cheerleaders these days? I mean, what Kaif continued his best team theory even after a meaningless bilateral series? Yeah, he did say on paper. I think what paper does Mohammad Kaif use? I really don't know.
Peppers.
He's a paparazzi in that sense. But
see, I mean, just one thing. I don't think he's wrong in believing that India were the best team in the World Cup. Okay, but I don't think anyone who contests that is also wrong.
yeah,
All I'm saying is that it's just a perception, right? So we can all be convinced as to what our best team was. You might say Australia because they won the cup. You'd be right. I may say India because of how they dominated the entire tournament, barring the fact. I may be right. So again, as I said, at the end of the day, a platform like X, where all of this happens, is meant for your personal opinion. That's his platform. He said, I go back to that question, don't take anything that a celebrity says as the gospel truth. That's his opinion.
exactly.
And he is only expressing, as I said, each of us had an opinion. Somebody might say India was the best team. Fine, an opinion. You could argue in favor or against. Somebody will say Australia was. That's also fine. You can argue in favor of, but don't take it as the gospel truth. The only thing that I will say is that when he clarified on that subject, he later said that, listen, what I have said is that are only facts, and I've only put facts out. But the only thing that I would contest is, he said that India won 9 or whatever 11 matches,
Australia,
whatever, and so that's a fact. Australia lost 2, that's a fact. But then he wrote that India as a best team is a fact. But when he wrote the best team as a fact, that wasn't a fact.
No, that's subjective.
That's opinion. Yeah. So that's what I said. But then everyone has to take that as an opinion. Don't get your knickers in a twist just because one person.
Social media never forgets, because there's another old tweet of his that then surfaced wherein
South Africa, very
yes. So the 2010 or 12 tweet of his, which then people pulled out, in which he said that not being the best team on the paper is just good enough on the day. You got to be on the field.
Good enough. Huh?
So again, people pull that out, and
I mean, look, Mohammad Kaif, it's like how England reacted after the 2-2 Ashes thing. They technically won the moral Ashes final, but on paper, but if you look at it, it was 2-2.
yeah.
Yes.
And Mohammad Kaif was like, I think he just cannot get away from that fact. That's why he has to give these kind of things
No, but
over
see,
and over again.
again, as I'm saying, it can happen, right? We're all humans. It's not just him. You just get someone like a Saranch and you ask him, he may say the same. I'm just saying that is what this tells you, that we're all humans and we all have emotions. I'm not saying what he's saying is incorrect. He has all the right to say it. If he really did, as an Indian fan, and especially for someone who's played for the country, feels like that, if he still feels the best, then You can't dispute that. He feels like that. His opinion.
It is.
Perfect. We also can't say, why is he putting this out? Why is he saying best team? Australia has won it. That's his opinion. I may think, no, Australia was the best because they won the final. My opinion. Fair enough.
Yep.
But don't, as I said, don't take it as a gospel truth. It's not.
It's not a patthar ki lakhir.
You decide which was the best team. Somebody might say Afghanistan was the best team. Was a punch above their weight. So be it. Fair enough.
Sports Warriors, do we...
We took.
Okay.
No, wait.
No.
We didn't take the last two.
Last two left.
Go down. Sports Warriors.
Okay, Sports Warrior is saying, why does sports today glorify fixers like Azhar, Jadeja? Everyone knows what they did. Forget code. Do you think Kapil was guilty only? Gambhir has spoken out. Please tell the truth. You can.
You know, the
You
fact
can't
there is
forget the quote.
Exactly. Forget
You
the
can't forget the quote, Sports Warriors. See,
If I'll just go back to, if we forgot the quotes now, do you remember what we started the discussion with? What happened in 2013?
Yeah.
If we forgot the quote, Srinivasan would have continued being president. Guru Nanak Mahapon would have been the
CSK team principal.
Everything. We cannot forget the court. Everything changed because the court stepped in. And there is a responsibility. Just because if I have an opinion and I want something done, does not mean that that is exactly how it should be done.
Yep.
You cannot forget.
See, not some rogue nation where there doesn't
It's not a
exist law
quack
and order.
court. Yeah.
There is law and order. We're not a rogue nation.
Banana Republic, to use the.
Exactly. So,
see, simple thing, the court gave the clean chit. Accept it and move on. That's it. Because it's been ingrained that, oh, they were. But then why do you forget the fact? You can't forget the court. You're in a republic. Court plays an important part.
And also everyone has a chance to reform themselves if they have been given a certain punishment, and after that what should they do? Close themselves, lock themselves in the house and never be seen again. This is a country where, you know, we've had convicted criminals become our leaders. It allows that, right? It says that, okay, they were convicted for a crime, they've served their sentence, and now are okay to fight elections and win and be our lawmakers.
Yep.
So
Accept it.
that's
As
that.
simple as that. Pratap Singh Chauhan. Sid and Shane should also come to Sports Talk. With Manoj and Dheeraj, these four never try to become diplomatic, nor they favor populistic agendas.
Thanks.
Thank you, Pratap Singh. And Abhinav Chatterjee. Nikhil sir is so cool, thoughtful and collected. Really enjoyed his Q&A with Ajay Jadeja. Should do more podcasts with celebrities. But I liked Ajay Jadeja's style statement. Was it his attire, winter attire that he was wearing?
He was, again, because there's a lot of debate over his headgear. So just to put it on record, again, I don't think I need to clarify anything anyway, but just because you're talking about, and you spoke about his attire, he's wearing that Himachali topi, which is so in the winters. Because we were sitting outdoors, and though it's not cold in the daytime, but when the sun sets, evening time, it gets cold, and there's a good chance you can catch a cold at that time, especially that's the. So he wears a nice winter headgear, and that's a Himachali topi, which is to be worn in winter.
Exactly.
Keeps your head warm and ensures that
Like
you
the
don't
style
fall sick.
statement, yeah.
Like a lot of us do. Like if Harshit follows that, he'll carry less of kala and whatever dawai and those
Kotzels.
longinese,
I'm
whatever
carrying
they
this
are.
today. I'm carrying this.
But was Varun Badola there for some shoot or something?
No, so he had come to meet somebody, and he saw Ajay, and they are schoolmates from Sardar Patel.
Oh,
So he said, he played for Sardar Patel. He's played cricket for Sardar Patel.
okay.
So they know, that's how they're friends also. So it's not just in the school, but because they are like a batch, senior, junior. So they played cricket around the same time. And so they know, cricketers are never in school. They're always out playing.
Yes.
So they were, that's how they're friends.
Nice.
So he's also sat and inside talking. So he's a big cricket nut. When you speak to him, you realize, he played cricket in school, and then later somebody told me, I didn't know that he also played the Celebrity Cricket League.
Yes,
and all
yes,
that
yes, he was
plays.
there.
So he knows his stuff. Because when we were talking, then there were a lot of references to old time cricket data stats. He knew all of that.
He would know, yeah.
So
But a superb television actor, Varun Badola.
yeah, of
Superb.
course.
Stalwart, one of the stalwarts.
But he's a cricket nut.
One could see that, yeah.
He played for Sardar
played,
Patel,
he played,
and in those days, it's tough to play for Sardar Patel. I think, and I'm 100% sure of that. Siddharth can do research on that. It's top of my head, I'm saying. Sardar Patel Vidyalaya, New Delhi could probably hold the record for producing most Test cricketers by a single school in India. Okay, you could check any other school. There have been schools that have produced, but I'll quickly run you through some. There'll be a few in Bombay, which will be there. But I'll quickly, on the top of my head, the ones that I remember from Sardar Patel is Ajay Jadeja. There's Murli Karthik. There is Deepdas Gupta.
Ajay Sharma?
No, you made me forget. Now I'm going to start again. Ajay Jadeja, Murli Karthik, Deepdas Gupta, Rahul Sangvi, Vivek Razdan. 5 I've already counted, and I may be missing 1 or 2 more. So there could be about 6, 7 if I'm not mistaken. So it will be tough to get one school to have. Like for example, Sharda Ashram has
Amol Muzumdar, Sachin Tendulkar, Vinod.
But Amol was not a Test
cricketer.
Oh, he didn't play.
So there is Sachin, Kamli and Ajit
Agarkar. Yes.
3 that I can think of. Maybe there'll be another one 4.
Was Raman Lamba from Sardar Patel?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
No. Modern is Kirti Azad and Gautam Gambhir and Rajat Bhatia. But Rajat didn't play Test cricket. But I know some modern. But I'll check if Raman Lamba. I don't think Raman Lamba is modern.
He has his photo on the Hall of Fame of the school.
Barakhamba?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm not sure. Check again. I don't think he's from Tarak Sinha's academy.
Sonnet,
I know, Sonnet. But anyway, just check.
Manoj Prabhakar?
No, he's from Ghaziabad.
Ghaziabad, okay.
No. So you could check. I mean, I remember counting one. There were about 6, 7 cricketers that I saw from Sardar Patel. Which again, as I think of it, I can't remember too many schools that will produce one school.
Awesome. Karan Toor from the US is saying, sad having Jaidev Unadkat play last ODI series before World Cup and not Arsh. Now have Arsh and Jaidev gone. Same with Sanju, and what about Harshal and Shardul Venki too?
So basically we were talking about having too big a talent pool, and he's thrown 5 different names in there.
Yes. The side effects of having a huge talent pool, Karan Toor. That's the problem. Problem of plenty. India has not been able to manage it. Too much talent.
Okay, Bastilide is here.
Hello, Bal.
So we'll take that question. He says, discuss the Mushfiqur dismissal, which we discussed at the start. But according to the rules, as I saw it, clearly the ball wouldn't have hit the stump. It was going further away. Wouldn't have hit the stump. But according to the rules, you're out. Doesn't matter if it's hitting the stump or not. If it's within the pitch and you touching the ball like that after playing it, you follow the rules, you're technically out. My only question is, what was he thinking? The ball wasn't even going to the stump. I can understand.
It went nowhere.
Yeah, because you're coming to the stump, sometime instinctively you just do it, and then you're like, oh, what have I done? That wasn't even there.
But even in the rules, aren't you allowed to like bat it away with your foot or?
Yeah, but not hand.
Not hand.
But I'm saying, I'll still give, let's say, bounce and it was coming back, sometime instinctively you do it, and then a second later you realize, what have I done, right? But here it's like bounce is going away, and he's yet putting his hand there. What was he thinking?
Silly, very silly.
But it's Mushfiqur. So
it's interesting. We spoke about Mohinder Amarnath at the start because he also was out handling the ball. Yeah, but I think he punched the ball away and then he was embarrassed. He walked off.
Bangladesh, when all these weird dismissals, they want to get people timed out. They then do this on their own.
2023 has been a year for them, I'm telling you. But that was also Matthews. I don't know what happened to him. So that's a different debate altogether.
Okay, final question. Bappaditya is a regular watcher. He says, who is the best Indian Test batsman of all time? Would it be Sunil Gavaskar or Sachin Tendulkar? In terms of bowling, can we safely say Anil Kumble has been the best in Test for India? Okay, quickly answer. This is the final bit. Pick your all-time greatest. There's Virendra Sehwag there as well. We'll come into the conversation. Anyway, there could be Rahul Dravid. Don't forget about him as the best Test batter of all time. Some would argue VVS Lakshman on his day.
People could argue Pataudi as well.
Not in terms of numbers. Impact, yes, but not anywhere close.
As far as the Gavaskar versus Tendulkar debate, best Indian Test batsman?
Not debate. Any versus any. Just You pick one,
Sunil
whichever.
Gavaskar.
Sunil Gavaskar.
I mean, I never watched him, but considering the stories and the kind of attacks you'd face in those days, I'd probably lean towards Sunny.
Go with Sachin again. Seen more of him, but of course Sunny G right up there because he idolized Sunny G. So
Yeah, I'm also going with Gavaskar because, as I said, Test cricket in those days, half his career uncovered pitches,
No helmets.
no helmets,
Didn't
the
play
kind
one
of
for most of them.
bowling
Yeah.
that was there at that time.
I mean, let's look at the West Indies holding Marshall, Garner, Roberts. For Australia, Tomo and Lilly.
There was Colin Croft in the middle,
Colin
yeah.
Croft
So
in
they
the
would,
mix as well.
a lot of them would
I
come.
think Hall didn't play in his era, no? West Hall.
I think 71 toe was no Hall wouldn't be there.
Hall
Griffith and Hall were before.
Before 61.
yeah.
Nari contractor, 61.
Yeah.
Then you had Hadley for New Zealand. That was lethal. Then you had Sarfraz and Imran.
Lily Thomo, did you take?
I mentioned
Lily Thomo and the other one, yeah, really
Max
quick.
Walker.
No,
Wait.
really quick.
The guy who started in that 79-80 Ashes. 41 wickets.
Name's not coming to me. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mentioned all of the bowlers at that era. The four.
Sarfraz, Imran,
Sarfraz,
later
Imran.
Wasim. He faced Wasim as well.
Yeah, Wasim. Yeah.
So he played. Wasim was a young kid when Gavaskar was retiring, but he faced.
Then he had the guy of Botham, Chris Holt, John Snow
Yeah.
in England. So that's why he
Yep.
faced a potent bowling attack. And that too, most of his career, I think he didn't have the helmet, right? He just had the floppy hat.
Yeah, but interestingly, there's a story which I'll share with you guys. So, if you remember, he played with a floppy hat, then he came with a skull cap, which was like a cushion sort of a thing, which was like this. So, it would cover his skull area, and so it had foam. And then he would wear the floppy on top. So, you could see the skull cap here, which was like an innovation at that time. In case he got hit in the skull, it would help him. So, he played with that for a long time. Do you know, many years later, my conversation, he told me that a doctor met him and said, thank God you never got hit while you were wearing the skull cap because you would have been a goner. So he says it is better to have not played without that skull cap, less dangerous than with the skull cap, because what the doctor said was that if you got hit without the skull cap, that somehow naturally takes your impact in one area. So it will concentrate on that. The skull cap will spread it across your head.
Oh, the vibration.
So it'll do a total damage of your head rather than just one. So it would have been far more dangerous had you got hit. Luckily, he never got hit. So in hindsight, later somebody told him that thank God you didn't, because then you were a goner. Without the skull cap, better chance of surviving.
Jesus.
But apparently, in his whole career, he got hit only once on his head. Only once. And this is a time where there was no restriction to bouncers.
In fact, they were encouraged. In fact, if you
Yes.
go to West Indies, the crowds would be baying for
Yeah.
And they'd be like, no.
Yeah, there was a test match, 70s, where Bishan Bedi took the
75,
team of
76, Jamaica.
Jamaica test match.
Jamaica,
Correct. Because they prepared a bad pitch, and on top of that, Holding and all continued bowling those short pitch deliveries, hitting the player. So Bedi, being this rightiest kind of a thing, he said, I'm not going to play because it's not about getting it, but this is not cricket.
Yeah,
what you guys are doing, it's unfair. So he
It's
took the
unsafe.
team
They
off.
did it a
Yeah.
couple of times, right?
No,
Not
then
deciding-
they conceded that test match.
Series ended 1-1 if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
But when you look at Sunny Ji, again, if I'm not wrong, that whole time that he was born, how his uncle spotted that hole in the earlobe.
Wait, that Australian, I got Len Pascoe.
Yes,
Len Pascoe, yes,
that's
yes,
the one.
yes.
There, that's the name.
Len Pascoe,
Lenny Pascoe
yeah.
is what I was saying. Quick, really quick. But injuries, then
Do you know who hit Gavaskar once with the... do you
no,
know?
I don't know. But that's a good trivia question.
Yeah.
Maybe we should find out. I'll ask him only.
Yep.
He remembers everything, by the way. Okay, final question. We've gone on.
Karthik K, yeah.
Would you guys assume a question on RSVK is anti-VK or anti-RS and start preaching on being true fans? There are many fans like us who as well.
There are many true fans like us as well.
So,
IANS Indians.
I don't know the last part what it means.
Or
but-
Shane doesn't know, then Karthik's bold a googly then.
Ians.
Ian's Indians.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have had a T.
no, good for you, Karthik.
I thought you were
that's
shouting on the
that's really
news
lovely.
version,
But That's really lovely that you are, but you may like it, you may dislike it, you may say whatever. I know that the Ians really dominate, and even if there are the ones that you're mentioning, Ians who are Indians, there are minority, majority are divided with that. I see that
On
first
social
hand.
media,
Yes,
yeah.
so good if you are like that. Well
Yes.
done. Kudos to you.
Yep.
Sending you some love then. Vishal, you've joined us very late. We discussed the first part of our show was only on the women's cricket game. I think you joined late, so that's why that comment. But we reminded, if you joined us now, we'll be live at the end of the women's game. Okay.
Danny White is playing a very good knock at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
For the moment, bye bye. See you. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Nandri. Vanakkam.
Yep.
Shabba Khair.
Bye.
Follow that.
Don't trouble your mother. Do whatever you want to do.
Or Benno stuff, eat your vegetables.
Yeah.